Yeah, man. And what's so exciting about these tournaments is it wasn't just one qualifier. Everyone played through two qualifiers worth a various amount of points. And then depending on how you did in the qualifier, your accumulated points are what actually got you into
Mhm.
the Star League here. Um, and looking at these qualifiers, what's most interesting about them in every single qualifier, except for the West qualifiers, somebody different won.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
so
crazy. And yeah, I'm just
um,
looking through the list of players right now, and yeah, you are right. And we have so many different schools being represented here. Oh my goodness, I'm seeing Texas, I'm
yeah,
seeing Central Missouri, Arizona State,
Florida
California State,
Atlantic, yeah,
like Florida Atlantic, Dallas Baptist University, like so many
University of
universities.
Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my, University of Health and Sciences and Pharmacy in St. Louis. So you know those people are really smart. Must play Dr. Mario for over there. But that being said, like I said, a bunch of different schools being represented here, a lot of different players, and you know what? Some pretty decent names too. A couple of names that I am recognizing. Um, I don't want to say we talked about it before that the person we think is going to win. I'm not going to say it. I'm not gonna say it, not gonna be biased, but there is a pretty clear favorite here. I'm not gonna say who it is, but yeah, there is a lot of talent here. And the one thing I really like about these tournaments, about collegiate tournaments, is that you get to see those names that you might not hear at the big tournaments, at the Gommels, at the let's make big moves, at the Evos, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You don't see those names, but you see a lot of people who have talent who are the next ones up. Maybe you don't know about them now. Maybe 2, 3 years from now, you're going to see some of these names popping up in those big tournaments.
And now we are getting into our first match. NC from ASU and FT Pre from UMBC are hitting it off with Sephiroth and Bowser Jr. And when you were talking about funky characters, we're getting one right off the hop. The Bowser Jr. is absolutely coming out right now.
I told you, and speaking about Bowser Jr., a quick 47% on FTP. The Sephiroth, but now 63 and still going. Got to watch out for that Mecha Koopa, almost on the ledge there, but finally FTP managing to get a little bit of damage on it though. 63% unanswered. Going to be
Yeah, and I think
hard to come back.
you can point out the most obvious thing in this matchup. Sephiroth is going to want to stay away from Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr.'s up air combos at low percents get him to about 160 or about 60-70%, and because Sephiroth is so light, he's not going to be able to hang on to that stock much longer than that.
Yeah, and we saw that DI was pretty suspect, but again, Sephiroth being light, your DI has to be on point or you will die at 100 just like that. And my goodness, MC, this Bowser Jr. is going absolutely bananas right now. And honestly, Nurse, I always thought Bowser Jr. was a very underrated character.
It's interesting, right? Because we're seeing now Yoda Cage at a top level make things happen with Bowser Jr. and definitely making a case for that. So I think maybe that take isn't as unpopular as you might think it is now, but definitely a little while ago it was. And we're seeing now from ASU putting a lot of pressure on the Sephiroth. You know, we haven't seen FTP kind of be able to play at that range that he wants to very consistently, and that's been making the difference this game.
Yeah, MC is doing a really good job of using both the Mecha Koopas and the Koopa cart. Talking about the Koopa cart right there, using that upbeat to get a really cheeky kill. But yeah, MC using that Koopa cart and those Mecha Koopas to just play that to keep away game. Whenever Sephiroth gets too close, uses that side beat to kind of just zoom away. Like you said, just staying right out of that range.
Yeah, and again, we're seeing it. FTP is trying to get these fares, trying to get these F tilts, but NC is doing such a good job of, running in, being in his face that, if you fair right in someone's face or if you F tilt right in someone's face, those moves are not safe.
But then doing a very, very good job of it. And this is looking like it's probably going to be game really soon. 96% for Sephiroth. And that last hit of forward smash might have been going for the parry there. Not quite sure, but either way, that last hit of the forward smash is going to do it for NC. So now NC up 1. Oh, with that Bowser Jr., like you said, we were talking about unorthodox characters.
Yeah,
And
man.
off the bat, Bowser Jr.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that we saw that game was FTP did not live past 100. He died
No,
sub
no.
100 every single stock, and it's because NC was willing to throw out the Mecha Koopa, apply a little bit of pressure, run at him, and then wait for FTP to throw an unsafe aerial, right? As I was saying before, forward air on shield, at far range, very safe. Close range, not safe at all. Same goes for F tilt, and so NC, knowing this, was willing to play around it, and he got the combos off, he got the early kills. FTP just he never really got comfortable, never really got into his space.
Like you didn't really see any long combo strings or really any form of advantage from FTP there. Everything they got was really just a straight hit. They had maybe one combo very, very early on. That was a quick 42%. But beyond that, again, straight hits, even the up smash that was the KO for them. Kind of just a straight up
Yeah,
smash.
it
If
was
we're being
raw.
honest.
Yeah.
It was pretty much just a straight up smash. So yeah, definitely needs to clean that up a little bit. Let's see where they go. Oh, but switching to the young lane. Okay, fighting range with range here.
Yeah, I like it, right? You know, he kind of recognized what the problem was and tried to alleviate it with a character pick as opposed to a straight up playstyle switch. You know, he was getting outspeeded. He wasn't getting to play in his range. So you know what you do? You play a character with a couple more projectiles, a little more speed, and see where the world takes you.
Basically saying, look, hey, if you can do it, I can do it too. And you know what? It's working out relatively well. Pretty even game. Does unfortunately with the up B, and this is kind of where we saw MC do very well last game, just keeping the opponent on the. Hey, I have no words. That was like a 360 no scope Call of Duty sniper, man. That was crazy.
Man took him back to the middle of the period and said, "Get it out!"
Man, see me in Nuketown. Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
But this character switch definitely not working out too much for FTP. Might be even worse. Oh my goodness, I thought it looked pretty good early on. And one part of this game.
Oh my gosh, man.
MC just keeping him at the ledge.
Dude, it's just everything going wrong for FTP right now. Just he doesn't really know when it's his turn. And what I mean by that is, you know, when you're playing against characters who have safe aerials, which is pretty much everyone in this game, you have to know when it's your turn to swing. What's happening to FTP right now is he's jumping out of shield, or he's trying to attack out of shield before it's his turn, and NC is getting, you know, damage, full combos, combo breakers.
Oh no.
It's just not going right for
Honestly, NC
right
ain't even giving him a turn. Oh my god, NC's not even giving him a turn. You see the jab with the Mecha Koopa too? But no, you are totally right. I feel like FTP right now is maybe trying to force it a little bit. When you're playing from this far behind, it's definitely a trap a lot of people fall into. You're trying so hard to kind of dig yourself out of the hole that you try to force options that aren't really there, kind of like that. And you got punished, and they got punished for it immediately. That's probably the big KO there, though. Yeah.
That's the third time he's been hit by that up B off stage. Once his Sephiroth and twice his Young Link here. You kind of got to know it's coming, but there's only so much you can do about it. And again, caught swinging out of shield there. We saw, you know, hitting the shield, jumping. FTP trying to down tilt out of shield, doesn't know it's not his turn yet.
Yep.
And unfortunately getting back aired.
That was unfortunate. We are going to get a quick replay from that last game. And one thing I do have to say about NC, what they did very, very well with this right here, both games as Sephiroth or as Young Link, just did that was nuts. Did a fantastic job of just keeping the opponent on the ledge and punishing them every time they tried to recover. I think about maybe 3 or 4 of the 6 KOs that they got were just ledge traps like that. Just jumping off stage, getting a Koopa explosion, or that amazing cannonball like we just saw. So did a very good job of pressuring the opponent at the ledge, which is why they won.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is that Bowser Jr. is not a very common character.
No.
And so if you haven't seen the cannonball setup, if you haven't seen the up B setup, if you didn't know that he could up air you 9 times for 60%, you know?
9 times is being generous.
Life comes at you fast when you don't know that thing. It's a good effort from FTP, and I think he can go back and watch that VOD and realize, oh, this is where I can swing. Oh, this is how I can try and mix up my recovery. But unfortunately, you know, you don't get a second chance right away. You know?
Yeah, got to make that losers bracket run, unfortunately. But yeah, like you said, I feel like there were a lot of moments there where FTP, if they go back and watch, will be like, yeah, that's where I shouldn't have mashed a near there, or I shouldn't have done this, or shouldn't have done that. But that's how the tournament goes sometimes. So big ups to NC repping Arizona State University. Shouts to Arizona. Moving on to the next round of the tournament. And like we said earlier at the beginning, so much talent we saw right there. NC with that unorthodox Bowser Jr. character you don't see often. There's like honestly maybe 2 or 3 that people really talk about. So really happy to see that character get represented. at this high of a level.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's all best of 5. Oh
Oh,
my
it's just a
goodness.
5. Oh man, we should probably read the graphic. Oh man,
Tuning into best of 5 in the
yeah.
cloud switch.
Yeah, it definitely says it right there on the graphic. If only I could read. With that being said, the cloud switch coming through right here. Shout out to Smash 4. I feel like that's what everyone did back in the day. You lose game 2 and 3, switch to cloud.
Oh, absolutely, man. And honestly, shout out to Nace Starleague for running an entire best of 5 top 32. That is a great opportunity for everyone. And in a game with this many matchups and this much of a learning curve, you best of 5 is the gold standard. So absolutely props for that.
And honestly, that point you made about so many matchups is super, super key. Honestly, there are characters I honestly have never played in a bracket yet, and we've been playing this game for how many years now? And there are characters that I legitimately have not played in bracket, and having to fight them in a best of 2 at a tournament like this would be very frustrating for me. So again, having that extra couple games potentially to kind of figure things out, very, very, very good. So again, shout out to Nate Starleague for running a best of 5.
Yeah, and we're seeing again an early stock from NC, but a more competitive game for FTP, I think. You know, he got a big combo off the start, and he's been keeping that range a little bit better and making good use of that up B. I think Cloud's up B is such a nice tool when you're not totally sure when it's your turn, as that's been something we've been talking about this whole time. Kind of alleviating that weakness with a strong counter pick here, but he's gonna have to take the stock off sooner than later.
Another thing that FTP definitely has to do as the doesn't get that KO is watch yourself off stage. Oh, okay, fantastic drop down back here there. Ooh, good. Very good readiness right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say if that missed, he was done. Like
1000%. Went for it all. But yeah,
I love the
FTP has to be very careful off stage. But yeah, you could tell he had way more confidence in that back air than any other back air they threw out in this set.
That's something that's so big too. Even if you're down 2-0, you know, you're on a fresh character, fresh mindset, you gotta stay confident. You know, taking advantage of opportunities like that when you see them is how you get yourself back into games.
And right now, FTP looking to hang on to this last stock. Has NC at 84%, but with Bowser Jr., that damage gap is really nothing. Like you said, like what, 5 or 6 up airs, and the game is pretty much tied up again. So FTP has to be very careful right now. Oh, offstage.
Unfortunately, he's got no jump here, but the early up B will do the trick. He's caught NC at the ledge, but a get-up attack is going to get him back on stage. He needs to make use of this limit, preferably a limit cross slash at the ledge here, but NC not going to give it to him easily.
Nope. And man, one thing NC is doing, NC did not care about that limit at all. Stayed aggressive, stayed just on FTP's butt that entire time and wasted the limit, because typically you usually see people kind of camp the limit out. But NC doing the complete opposite.
Yeah, man. Hey, people don't realize when Cloud has limit or Joker has Arsene, if you combo them for 15 seconds, they don't get it anymore. And unfortunately, the buffer system rearing its ugly head.
That forward air you saw there. Yeah, I'm just looking back at the stream right there. Yeah, that forward air, that was definitely a buffer. I would imagine in online, the buffer system is bad enough offline. And this game online, where you have that extra like 5-6 frames of delay, it gets alleviated even more, or it gets brought to a prominence, even elevated, not alleviated. Sorry, elevated even more. So we are going to see a replay of that right now. But man, shouts to NC, Arizona State University, once again, a dominating 3-0 over FTP.
Got yoinked with that back there. That's devastating. He died at 65% to a reversal off stage.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough.
And these up-Bs just came through the entire set. That cannon snipe was something else, man.
I honestly, when I watch this, I can't help but think that FTP probably doesn't have too much Bowser Jr. experience.
Yeah, and it looked like he didn't know that Bowser Jr. could swing so fast after his air dodge there either.
A lot of people get caught by that swing out of the air dodge, or that swing out of the up B. It is incredibly fast, it's incredibly strong, very cheeky. The animation for it is very, because Bowser Jr. is so small, sometimes it's even hard to see until you're hit by it. Then again, I feel like a lot of that I would attest, or I would give to just FTP, my bad, not having too much Bowser Jr. experience, which I felt like really bit them in the butt there.
Yeah, and honestly, the character switches too, there were some good ideas there, and we saw the cloud come out at the end with kind of the biggest sign of life.
Yeah.
If he had started with the cloud, maybe it could have been a different set, right? There's adapting to the player, but there's also adapting to the player using your character's strengths. And when you switch every time, you don't necessarily get to do that unless you're a really confident counter picker.
And that's kind of the curse when you play multiple characters.
Yeah.
There's always in the back of your head, man, maybe if I didn't switch, I would have won. Or maybe if I switched earlier, I would have won. Or maybe if I picked this character earlier, I'm probably, FTP is probably thinking, man, maybe if I played Cloud that entire set, like you said,
Yeah.
maybe I would have won a game, something like that. And that's kind of the curse when you play multiple characters. I know a lot of people who kind of fall into that trap as well. It's a very
Yeah.
good thing to have if you're able to switch on the fly and just stay and just keep that momentum going. But in a situation like this, again, I feel like the lack of experience potentially definitely came back to bite FTP. And so unfortunately, they're moving down to losers. But NC again, Arizona State University repping, moving on in the bracket. And I can't wait to see some more of NC as well. That was a really clean Bowser Jr.
Yeah, I'd like to see what happens when a little more pressure is put on him, when he's got a little more juice, a little more adrenaline flowing in his veins. See what we see out of NC, and I'm sure we will later in this tournament.